everybody, and welcome to Right Here, Right Now, live Buffalo football talk presented by Forefathers Organics. I'm your host, Alex Brasky, alongside my co-host, Ajay Cybulski, here for the Batavia Daily News and Livingston County News. Each week, we'll discuss Buffalo's favorite football team, along with all the comings and goings from Orchard Park, thanks to our friends at Forefathers Organics in Dansville. In this case, Ajay, today you're in Rochester. I'm back in Batavia. I had to leave practice a little bit early. You remain on the grounds at St. John Fisher University. Plenty of updates for the people, including a big day for the offense, along with an injury update for Cole Bishop. Before we get to it all, let's hear from Forefathers.
Unlock the power of nature with Forefathers Organics, your premium CBD store. We offer the highest quality CBD and hemp products to liberate your mind, body, and soul, helping you live happy and free. Our mission is driven by excellence and transparency, using cutting-edge scientific methods to combat stress and target issues at their source. From potent ingestible CBD to soothing topicals, all our products are USDA certified organic. Discover all natural wellness from farm to table. Visit forefathersorganics.com for more information.
Might have lost Alex for a second, I believe. I think he's frozen.
All right, looks like we're experiencing some
You're back.
Connection issues. Not sure if it's my end or AJ's end. Let's check.
Might have lost Alex for a second, I believe. I think he's frozen. All right.
Do you have me?
I have you now.
All right, not sure what happened there. I lost you. You lost me for whatever reason. We are back here, right now, live Buffalo football talk, discussing day 7 of training camp. AJ, you got back out there today. Another exciting day for you. A hot day again on the grounds at St. John Fisher University, and a hot day for the Bills offense, and Josh Allen continuing to record his best training camp of his career, in my opinion, and a number of wide receivers getting involved as well. Khalil Shakir making perhaps his best play of training camp thus far, continuing to remain consistent within that passing offense, and much more to discuss from the offensive side of the ball. But let's start on the defense. An update on Cole Bishop, the safety, injured on Wednesday. He left practice, and he was later seen with his arm heavily wrapped after that session, but before practice, the Bills announced that he is week to week with a shoulder injury. He was out there at practice today in a T-shirt, not sporting any heavy wrap that he was seen wearing on Wednesday. Didn't appear to be wearing any harness on that shoulder. So week to week for Cole Bishop. Bills brought in a couple of free agents, Kareem Jackson and Terrell Burgess. It was Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp with the ones throughout practice today, with Mike Edwards, another injured safety dealing with a hamstring injury week to week, and Bishop out. While with the second team to begin practice, it was Cam Lewis and the new safety Terrell Burgess, while there was some mixing in at that level. What did you see from the safety group today? Obviously some good news on Bishop, that it doesn't appear to be anything that's too catastrophic.
Yeah, the safeties were flying around out there. I thought Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp both looked good in run support. Obviously, I think the offense had their way in terms of, through the air. The aerial attack was just on point. Josh Allen was just on fire. So I think, again, the good news about Bishop is, like you said, no harness, nothing really on that shoulder that makes it seem like it's going to be too long of an injury. Now, that may push back and really hinder his chances of becoming a starter, soon in terms of like a week 1, week 2. But you'd think he probably will be able to get a couple more reps out there before the regular season begins, and hopefully get up to speed with everything. Bobby Babbage spoke today before practice and just said that they're just trying to keep his mindset there, trying to do whatever it takes mentally for him to kind of stay focused, locked in, and still continue that development. Although he won't get that physical development, he can still get that development mentally, which again is huge in this league, transitioning from the college level to the NFL level. Not only the physical challenge, but the mental challenge of understanding a defense and the language that they use. So I think with Bishop, that's a good sign, though, that the injury doesn't look as bad as some originally thought, and it's a week-to-week thing. On Edwards, again, the hamstring, who knows what happens with him. But I think what we saw from the safeties today was what we really expected. Hamlin and Rapp with the ones. I was a little surprised to see Burgess with the twos right away. But again, Williamson was I forget his first name. What's the
Kendall Williamson, a little bit exposed the other day on a deep ball.
Right, and then Kendall Williamson, like we texted about before the show, they all kind of worked in after that. It wasn't really like a Burgess, second team. He was the only guy there. There was a lot of rotating. But again, I think Cam Lewis, we have not seen a lot of during camp at the safety position. So what does that entail? Is he a guy that they can really count on at that position? Again, a little undersized. So do they trust him back there with the physicality part of it? I think it's good to see him out there with the second team because he's playing a lot of boundary corner. And I think he's shown enough at the outside that he can be a chess piece there if they want to use him there. So maybe now they take the reins and see what he can do at safety and use this opportunity with the injuries to really see what they have with Cam Lewis at that safety position. Of course, you go back to the Justin Jefferson play where he did not knock the ball down. That really comes to your mind when he played safety is one of those plays that probably not haunts him, but something that you got to learn from at that spot. So all in all, just a solid day from the safeties. But again, I think the aerial attack from this offense was just so dominant. Like it was better than what I saw on Friday on day 3. It was probably the best I've seen so far.
And Hamlin, I thought, put forth a strong performance on Thursday. He's been relatively quiet throughout training camp, a few plays here and there, certainly not the splash plays that he was creating during the offseason training program, but during 7-on-7 drills, remained in tight coverage as team drills went along, had that pass breakup during 7-on-7 drills, and then really continued his solid day throughout 11-on-11 work. Suddenly, a lot is being expected of Hamlin. I would imagine he's the front runner to start the season as a starter just simply due to the lack of availability for Mike Edwards and now Cole Bishop also going out. I think the sea is starting to part for Hamlin to become a week 1 starter and showcase that experience within this system. And boy, what a story would that be to see him from almost dead on the field in Cincinnati to a few years later starting week 1 for a team with a Super Bowl aspirations like the Bills have. That would really be quite the story.
Yeah, I was talking with Joe Marino from Locked On Bills today on the side of the practice on the track, and we were just talking about the safety position and obviously the looming questions. And if you listen to Right Here, Right Now the past week, all you've heard from me and Alex almost every day is the safety position and the dire questions. And in a position that had a lot of questions going into the training camp, even has more questions. Almost a week into training camp in terms of practices. So I think with Hamlin, you look at his experience. Is he the answer at the position? Is he the future of the position? I don't think so. But for what the Bills are doing right now and what they need from a safety at this point with next to Taylor Rapp, I think the experience of what he's had in the system, I think his willingness to be physical, and like you've said, he's had those splash plays. It's not like, we gotta settle with Damar Hamlin. He's got to go out there. He's the only guy we really have left. Well, that may be the case. I think he's also earned that spot. It's also about earning it. Sean McDermott isn't just going to hand these, positions out to players. And I think Damar, with every opportunity he's been given, he's excelled at. And we'll see what he can be in week 1 if he does get the start. But who knows if Edwards and Bishop are still at play for that spot. It really will come down to the next few weeks and when they're able to get back from those injuries.
And Taylor Rapp spoke after practice. He's been the steady force out there with the ones throughout training camp and the offseason program. Said that he's really been proud of Damar's progress. And one word he can use with Damar Hamlin is consistency. Says he's grown a lot, playing at a high level and really playing consistent while developing a groove with Rapp at the back end of that defense. Rapp has really become a leader on defense within this unit just over 1 season with all the veteran leadership exiting this offseason. A lot is asked of Rapp within this defense on the back end, and I think he's fared well thus far. Another defensive back that made an impact today before we get to Josh Allen's big day, Kaiir Elam had a good 7-on-7 period, denied Mac Hollins a reception as he went up with Hollins near the corner of the end zone and knocked a pass away that was from Josh Allen, fell to the turf incomplete. The next play is 7-on-7, also the final rep of the session. Allen struggled to find a receiver downfield, threw it into the flat, and Elam jumped the route, nearly came away with what would have been a pick 6, couldn't hold on to the ball, but Elam continues to be all around the ball, get his hands on near interceptions. His consistency has kind of been up and down. I posted within my takeaways article on Twitter, kind of the roller coaster emoji for him. He had a couple of penalties the other day, but responds well today with another big performance, particularly during 7-on-7 work. He continues to shine and really has a stranglehold on that number 3 cornerback job at this point.
Yeah, Kaiir, what an impressive play from him. First, the breakup of Matt Collins. I thought he was just very physical, handsy, and that's what he showcased throughout his career. Although, again, he might be in the wrong spots at times. He might overcommit and miss a tackle or whatever the case may be. But he's shown to use his instincts. And then the following play, a pass in the flat to the running back, was unable to figure out who the running back exactly was, but Allen delivered it. And
Yeah, we
Kaiir,
were on the other side of the field. It was tough to see amongst the bodies.
right. So Kaiir jumped it and, like you said, almost came away with the play, got his fingertips on it. The defense, I mean, and I told you this after it happened. When Kaiir makes a play, it almost feels like an underdog story, although he was a first-round pick, because every time the dude makes a play on the field, the defense just gets so excited. And we talked about it at practice today, just the passion that's come from him and in battles with Stephon Diggs in years past. They've gone at it. So he's a fiery guy. Not only is he a first-round pick and has all the tools, but he's a competitor and he wants to be great. So whenever he makes a play, I think the defense rallies around that. And he was beat later in practice in the red zone. Terrell Shavers got by him for a touchdown. So again, a little bit of that inconsistency, but being a cornerback in this league, and especially as a depth corner, you're not going to be, asked all the time to be great. You just need to, fit within the system and do what you're asked. And I think so far, Kaiir, although he's had some, bumps along the road or bumps along the way, I think the exuberance of his splash plays has really shown.
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of the underdog story for Elam as that number one or that first round pick, former first round pick, and now 3 years into his career, having yet to latch on a consistent role within this defense, he is kind of turning into an underdog story. And Rapp mentioned that during his post practice comments, just the adversity that Elam's dealt with, whether it be lack of playing time, whether it be some injuries that he dealt with last year. Says he's seen an increase in maturity from Elam this year, and that's certainly a good sign. You mentioned his fiery nature. That's kind of led to some immature moments for Elam in the past, and I think to see him gaining that maturity and for Rapp to be commenting on that, certainly a good sign. Elsewhere on defense, before I promise, get to the offense, good run defense shown by Ed Oliver and Terrel Bernard. They've just been dominant against the run ever since the pads came on. It seems like Ed Oliver knows what the offense is going to do before they even snap the ball. He is all over the Bills running backs throughout the past few days. Terrel Bernard also making great reads, great pursuit to the ball. And Matt Milano made a play today going sideline to sideline. We've mentioned that a few times. Another good moment for him, catching up with a screen pass and stopping the pass catcher's progress downfield.
Yeah, Bernard in 7-on-7 was just absolutely stuck to Dalton Kincaid. And there were moments throughout practice, and I know we're about to get to this, but Kincaid's just, his separation at the point of the ball and just his ability to box out defenders. But Bernard just shut that down totally. He was, kind of giving him some trash talking after the fact, all in good fun, but kind of got up in his face like, that ain't going to happen in my book. So I think Bernard showed, some good plays out there. And yeah, and what was before Bernard? Sorry, I forget.
Ed Oliver.
Yes, Ed Oliver. The best player I think defensively that I've seen in the couple days. The first day on Friday when I went, put Josh Allen on his butt, or would have put Josh Allen on his butt in the read option in the backfield. Today, just all over the run defense, and I think he's just giving that middle of that offensive line that's kind of switched around with Connor McGovern now at center, David Edwards at left guard, and Torrance the mainstay at right guard. I think he's giving them fits. I think Ed Oliver's dominated those matchups, and that's a good sign for a guy who, again, I think there's more to give from him, and I think there's still some more that they can get out of him. And if Ed Oliver's balling, it'll help Daquan Jones. If Ed Oliver's balling, it'll help who's ever lining up next to him on the edge. So I think with Ed Oliver's emergence here through camp and just his ability to kind of be that game wrecker so far for this defense and really be the guy that stood out. I mean, I feel like every play during team drills, every couple plays, you're looking, oh my God, Ed Oliver's done something else. So just Oliver's just been, a consistent guy. His speed to power, just his quickness in between the tackles is just unbelievable. And just his ability to get hands on not only the quarterback, but the running backs in those rushing lanes has been, second to none so far at camp.
Yeah, I think rivaling Ed Oliver as the top defensive player for the Bills throughout training camp, maybe Greg Rousseau, but I think you're spot on with that. Oliver's been a consistent producer throughout training camp, just disruptive both in the pass rush and against the run. And finally, as promised, we move on to the big day from Josh Allen and the offense. I'm going to start with Khalil Shakir, that great catch down the seam. Allen really made a nice throw, hit him in stride, but Shakir did a nice job over the shoulder, coming down with it and then securing it as he went to the ground. Really, I thought his biggest splash play of training camp so far, a fairly deep route down the seam, probably would have gone for close to a touchdown. I don't think there was a defender near him after he went to the ground. I think he regained his footing. Maybe you can update me on that. But Shakir has been one of Allen's most consistent targets throughout training camp. It's just been impressive to watch him consistently day in and day out, be a member of this offense and be a significant target for Josh Allen. Been a lot of talk about who's the Bills' number one wide receiver in this offense. I don't think Khalil Shakir has wide receiver one written all over him, but in terms of how he's going to be used in this offense, just is kind of that safety valve for Josh Allen and just a consistent player. He didn't drop a lot of passes last year, hasn't dropped anything in training camp this year. It seems like everything thrown his way ends up in a reception.
Yeah, and it's great coming off of training camp last season. And Alex, you were here, so you know that his Shakir's drop struggles were even a concern that maybe some thought he would not make the final roster. Obviously, ended up making it, and then developed as a run blocker, got his opportunity, and ran with it under Joe Brady towards the back half of last season. But I don't know if you're talking about. There were two plays from Shakir today. The one, the deep slant over the middle, where the contested one, that great ball from Josh. He caught it, fell into the end zone for a touchdown. And then the other one in a later team portion in standard 11-on-11. Josh hit Shakir over the linebacker, put it on a needle. Shakir jumped up, grabbed it, stayed out of the air, came down with it, with a defender draped all over him. And just his hands.
Yeah, I think that's the one I'm referring to. I think I watched him go to the ground. Maybe I saw it incorrectly, but that's the one I'm talking about, the one where kind of the deeper ball with the defender on him.
Yeah, it was like 20, 25 yards. I mean, Josh Allen's window was this tight. He had, Bernard and Milano were right there, obviously in coverage in that zone, in between the safety and Shakir. Just, it almost felt like the safety had the ball for a second, but Shakir obviously ripped it away. They were kind of both, how they are with laying on the ground with the ball, laying next to each other, trying to rip it out of each other's arms. And, Shakir obviously had all the possession. It wasn't really a question of who caught the ball. And that's what you've seen from Shakir. His shiftiness, his ability to get open after the catch. He had one opportunity in the red zone today on like a little out pattern in the flat where he kind of lost his footing and was unable to recover. So that obviously that's unfortunate, but just his run after the catch ability, his hands in traffic, his understanding of where to be in the middle of the field, where to be quarterback friendly so Josh can fit it into those windows, because Josh's mechanics and his ability to fit into tight windows has been second to none. I've never actually probably seen it this consistently with Josh so far in a training camp. So just Shakir's development is unbelievable. And for a former fifth rounder who had his doubts as a rookie and then really his doubts toward the beginning of training camp last year, to come on like this, entering his third season, you got a contract year coming up after in the next 2 years. It's good to see that maybe he's a guy that sticks around here at One Bills Drive.
Before we continue on, a word from Forefathers Organics. At Forefathers Organics, their mission is to liberate, educate, and innovate with the highest quality CBD and hemp-derived products for your mind, body, and soul so you can live happy and free. Visit them at 87 Franklin Street in Dansville, online at forefathersorganics.com, or call them at 585-335-2223 to learn more about the products they offer. All right, AJ, continuing on with the talk of Allen's big day, why don't you just take us where you want to go next? What stood out to you from Josh Allen's big day? Obviously, connecting with players all over the place. There was that juggling catch from Dalton Kincaid working against Jamarcus Ingram. He found Marquez Valdez-Scantling during 7-on-7. Mac Hollins as well, an unbelievable catch working against Christian Benford. Where do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I want to start with one thing. The first thing I'll start with is another day of no turnovers. So that's, again, another positive sign. There was really only that one bad day last Friday when I was here where he threw the 3 interceptions in a floor play. So another day.
So we've eliminated you as the possible jinx for Josh Allen then.
Correct. Yes, I was not. Well, maybe I re-jinxed him today, so now that's why he had his best day. I had to take the bad with the good. You have to balance it out. That's life. But yeah, I think Josh, just his ability. There was a play today during 11-on-11. He's looking through his progressions. Offensive line obviously holding up really well to give him this time, and he's looking around, gets to his first read not there, second read not there, third read not there, scanning the field, and then instead of trying to force something or get out of the pocket and run, checks it to James Cook in the flat. In the 5-yard gain. So that right there, and on top of just the precision of his accuracy in the passing. I think his calmness in the pocket, his presence, his ability to scan the field, his trust in his offensive line, and then guided by the positive and great decision making from the quarterback. Where again, you can question if there's any ability or questioning of Josh Allen's ability in this league. It's his decision making at times because he tries to fit those balls into tight windows. Obviously, it happens way more good than bad in terms of when he does it. There's obviously way more good that comes from it, but the decision making has been a little bit of a problem in the past. I mean, obviously, you go back to the Jets game last year. There was obviously the Week 1 game was obviously tough for Josh in that offense. So I think just the pressure's off. He talked about it at the post press conference that they have a shooting guard in the lineup. They have a small forward. They have a power forward. They have a center. And on top of it, they all want to make the extra pass. It's not about, making this guy happy or getting this guy targets or whatever the case may be. It's about make the extra play, do what's best for the team. And I think Josh Allen and the offense not only feel like the pressure's off them, but I think they're all on the same page and are fully invested in what Joe Brady's doing.
Another interesting aspect of the offensive performance today, Curtis Samuel getting a carry in near the goal line and taking it up the middle for a touchdown. Me and you looked at each other, they've been using him all over the field in so many different ways. And I've been saying it all off season long. This guy's going to be the X factor for this offense. You might see a Shakir and Kincaid be more consistently utilized within this offense, but the way that Samuel's being used, his versatility and just the unique fashion that Joe Brady is finding ways to get him the ball. I'm so excited to see it materialize once the games start and to see him get a carry near the goal line today. And he also came away with another notable touchdown reception during 7-on-7 while working against a Corey Couch in coverage. So he's shown ability to not only work as a pass catcher, but work inside and out as a runner as well. He is going to be such a valuable piece to this offense.
Yeah, I think he's showcasing not only, being a gadget guy and doing all the things that you really could ask of a running back, wide receiver, whatever he wants to be in that given play, whatever Joe Brady chooses to do. But his catch radius, whether it was that clip that the Bills put out last week with a nice highlight play from Samuel or today in that front pylon right in front of me. I mean, just the guy was draped all over him. Allen put it. I thought it was too far. Curtis, extends his arms pretty far and snags it, pulls it in for a touchdown.
These guys have been catching everything thrown their way. That's another thing. Not only has Josh Allen been fitting it into tight windows and remaining turnover free, his pass catchers are catching everything. And I guess that speaks to how accurate he's been and how on the money he's been, but it also speaks to how on the money these pass catchers have been.
Yeah, and they're just clicking on all cylinders. And Allen was asked about Samuel and what he can provide for this offense against defenses they go up against. And he said he's just a constant mismatch. You can line him up against a DB. You can put him against a linebacker. You can put him in the backfield and allow him to be a running back. You can put him on the boundary against a slower corner and showcase his speed. So you can really use this guy. And I've been saying it over and over again. They've wanted this for so long in this Josh Allen offense. They tried it with Isaiah McKenzie. It never materialized. That Patriots game where he was running those long drag routes across the field and Allen was putting it on the butter, that was probably his best game. And then you look at, Deontay Hardy, who never really was able to get anything going. They tried to, I think, utilize him early on in the season. It didn't work, so they went away from it. And then with Joe Brady, never really got it going. I think Curtis Samuel is the ultimate alpha in terms of this is the guy, and I think they finally figured out the guy who can do it all for this offense. Like you mentioned, it might be more volume for Shakir and Kincaid because of the camaraderie and the consistency they provide as pass catchers. But if you're talking about a guy that can get, carries and receptions, I don't think you're going to see really much more than what Curtis Samuel can do for this team.
He's like a gadget guy on steroids, because typically when you talk about a gadget guy, it is like an Isaiah McKenzie, someone with a defined skill set that you can kind of get him the ball off the edge and jet sweep scenarios. But not only can Curtis Samuel do that, he's showing that ability as a pass catcher on the outside as well as in the slot. So just really impressed what I've seen from Curtis Samuel. And I think the tight end 3 battle has been not more widely discussed on any podcast than it has been right here, right now. And it continued to heat up today. Quentin Morris and Zach Davidson each recording touchdown receptions after Davidson score. And I told you all off season, and I think you got your first experience today.
Yep.
Davidson's dance moves after the touchdown, the gritty along the back line of the end zone. And you asked Josh Allen about it after practice, and he said he's got a lot of juice. I don't know if he's got the greatest dance moves, but he tries really hard, and we love him for it. He says he's always pedal to the metal and balls to the wall. I think that's a perfect way to describe what I've seen from Davidson, just balls to the wall in all circumstances, and really starting to grow on not only me and you who have been talking about him, but other members of the media and perhaps his coaches as well, who I'm sure have liked what they've seen dating back before that ACL injury ended his season last year. But don't count out Quentin Morris. He's continuing to go tooth and nail with Zach Davidson, recording catches practice after practice. It's a good problem to have if you're the Bills. If you have this tight of a competition, from my perspective, for the tight end 3 battle, that means you've got a really, really good roster put together on the offensive side of the ball.
And it's fun, right? Because this is like a true battle between two guys that weren't really highly, respected, or I should say known coming into the NFL. And they're now going, play for play, touchdown to touchdown, reception for reception. Every little thing matters. Every block matters. Every time they go to put a block on a run scheme or run play, that matters. So seeing that battle play out, I think Davidson really caught my eye today. And again, two red zone touchdowns. You hit the gritty. So that was pretty cool. And then Quentin Morris, though, same thing. He also responds with a touchdown. So they're really utilizing Davidson and Morris. Davidson, obviously, the bigger build. I'd say the more prototypical like tight end guy you'd want, big, strong. Josh Allen also said he's like the sweatiest guy in the weight room every day. So really puts in the work. I just really like what I've seen.
That was you out there on the practice field today. You were dripping.
I got a funny. So Daquan Jones. Sorry, this is kind of off topic, but Daquan Jones. I was listening because I transcribed his presser after practice today, and he was talking about how, man, like I sweat a lot, like it was a hot one, like crazy. And then Josh Allen gets to the podium, and I just realized this like an hour ago. And the first thing he does is he gets in the chair, he looks at it, and he's like, "What in the world?" And he changes the chair. And everyone's like, yeah, that was Daquan Jones. So it was funny that Daquan Jones went and said like how much he sweats and how he's a problem with it. And then Josh comes right after Daquan, like maybe like 10, 15 minutes because he was doing all his signings and had to switch the chairs out. So that was just funny. But yeah, just this, it was just a fun time.
All right, before we get on out of here, there were a few injury scares along the offensive line today. Left tackle Dion Dawkins exited for a brief period before returning. He seems to be fine, but one item of note with that departure from Dawkins, Ryan Vandemark was the one who came in and filled in at left tackle with the first team offense, so it seems like he's the first option at swing tackle for the team, while fellow offensive lineman Lale Collins left practice and did not return. Mike Edwards, who's been dealing with concussion symptoms, working through concussion protocol, he left practice momentarily, but he eventually did also return to the practice field. There were a few other injury updates to report. Running back Ty Johnson with a hamstring, Chase Claypool with a toe, both remain day-to-day. Travis Clayton also day-to-day with a shoulder. Johnson and Clayton worked off to the side with trainers. Claypool watched practice from the sideline. And I think that's it in terms of injury updates. We return to the practice field on Friday. Tomorrow, the return of blue and red in Orchard Park at Highmark Stadium. I think they're opening the upper deck for that scrimmage as it's really started to take on a life of its own after the past few years. All Bills fans wanting to make sure they get in attendance for that. So thousands of fans expected to pack the stands. Return of the blue and red starts at 5:30. I'll be there on the field. AJ, you'll be in the stands enjoying it with your father. Just any more takeaways from today's practice? What are you looking forward to most out of Friday?
Yeah, just looking at all the battles going on, Alex. I think you like you said, tight end 3, Davidson Morris, who pops more at the scrimmage. You look at the safety battle. What's going on? Does Burgess or Kareem Jackson make a play? Do they do something that stands out to maybe put them in the conversation for maybe that final roster spot in the safety room? Can Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp, how do they look on the first team? And then you look at the wide receiver room still. I'm still interested in Joe Marino. Again, we were talking, and he reminded me that they only kept 5 receivers last year. Yeah. And I was just made aware of that today. Like I always assumed 6 because I thought it was been 6. Obviously, should have done more research with that. But they only kept 5. And because he said to me, it's going to be interesting if they keep 5 or 6. And I'm like, 5? Like, so I think it'll be interesting to see that bottom of the wide receiver depth chart. Can Shavers get an opportunity with the ones and make the most of it? Can Chase Claypool?
Technically, they kept the 6 with Shorter out of training camp, and then I think they moved him to IR. And I think that worked them down to 5.
Yeah, so it's a unique thing there with the wide receiver room. But yeah, the DN4 battle is Smoot. How is he going to look? Are they going to play him inside? Or are they going to play him on the edge? Because Daquan Jones talked about his versatility today and how he can just line up all over the place. So that battle, I think the punting battle is obviously taken care of. And then I just want to see again, Josh Allen with his new pass catchers, who stands out, Dalton Kincaid, Shakir, who gets the most volume, because I think I want to kind of see some separation there. Does Keon Coleman make a play? So I kind of want to see and maybe get a little bit of idea, start rolling with a pecking order in my head of what I might think, like a little projection of what the wide receivers and tight end, production might look like. But overall, it's going to be a great day. I'm looking forward to it. And, it's just a great event that I think it's a smart thing, because not only does it give the fans something to do on a Friday night in the midsummer in Buffalo, but, you get to see the Bills and what they're going to be, hopefully, in 2024.
Right. And I think the Bills owe their fans, after last season, they rested a lot of their projected starters during that return of blue and red. Didn't get to see a lot of action from them. So perhaps some more action from some guys in line to start this year, especially with the amount of turnover on the roster and the amount of positions still up for grabs. Maybe we'll see the Bills' top players out there a bit more this year at the return of blue and red. But that's going to about do it. Before we get out of here, another word from Forefathers Organics.
Unlock the power of nature with Forefathers Organics, your premium CBD store. We offer the highest quality CBD and hemp products to liberate your mind, body, and soul, helping you live happy and free. Our mission is driven by excellence and transparency, using cutting-edge scientific methods to combat stress and target issues at their source. From potent ingestible CBD to soothing topicals, all our products are USDA certified organic. Discover all natural wellness from farm to table. Visit forefathersorganics.com for more information.
All right, that's going to do it. Another episode of Right Here, Right Now, live Buffalo football talk in the books. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.